What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Got another video for you today. Today we're talking about the state of BDO. This video is brought to you by my Twitch channel and the supporters there, people who follow me, people who watch me, people who sub and tip. Thank you for all you guys for the support. You made this video possible. You can find me on Twitch at Potion Shop TV. So let's get back into it. The topic is a little bit more solemn than normal. You know, like, is BDO doing well? Is BDO dying? Is, you know, what do you think the future of BDO is like? And you can look at this anecdotally, right? You play the game, you see players running around. You know, you can look at, like, potentially you can look at, like, Twitch streamers and see how many viewers are pulling in, something like that. But all these things don't really give you a accurate representation of, like, what's going on. You know, like, so what? You see a little less people in Medea. Maybe they're in Heidel. Maybe you see less people in Heidel. Well, maybe they're in the next area, right? So because of that, it's not really something you can trust. So I was watching some YouTube videos and saw a video from Asmongold, and he basically used Google Trends and typed in things to Google Trends to kind of know where the game was at for World of Warcraft compared to Final Fantasy XIV. And obviously, anybody's going to guess that Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft are way more popular than Black Desert Online. That's not going to be a surprise to anybody. But I did think it would be interesting to compare Black Desert Online to other MMOs that were similar to it, like Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2, things like that. So I've done that here for the comparison. So we have Black Desert Online in blue. We can see Elder Scrolls in red, and then we can also see Guild Wars 2. And you can see here that Black Desert over the last 12 months, we can even go even longer than that, last 5 years, right? We can kind of see that Elder Scrolls Online was used to be a powerhouse and has slowly shrunk down and had these little peaks and just kind of went back down to where it was pretty fast. And BDO, for the most part, has done the same thing, right? About 5 years ago is when the game came out, a little over 5 years ago. And this is when they probably had, like, Valencia, Node Wars and stuff come out. This is kind of like the peak of BDO for, like, Awakenings and stuff. And then, you know, over time, the game has became more and more pay to win. You know, the content loop has gotten more boring because it's just new gears replace your current gear. They're ignoring the life skilling system. They're ignoring PvP. Objectively, the game got worse for about 2 years from this point on, and you can see that kind of in the player base, right? The player base, you know, started not really enjoying the game as much. And then basically, this is the time where they realized something needed to change with BDO, and you can see that they've, you know, they had some good times here. So they had Mysteries of Summer. This was Mysteries of Summer right in here somewhere. That was like Mysteries of Summer. March, they always have a big update. So March is like usually like Drigan. This is probably like Drigan here. But let's see if we can get something that's a little bit more relative to what we've seen recently anyway. And so we kind of know if how BDO is going to be doing for the next year. And we can kind of see that BDO overall has been maintaining its player base. You know, it has these lows and it goes back down. And we're basically in a low right now for BDO because we haven't had anything new for a while. So let's go back and look at what happened about a year ago. A year ago, we had Succession come out. About a year and a half ago, we had Succession come out, and we also had Guardian come out. And so that basically is where this high is from. And then around here in September, I don't know what they did in September. I can't think of what that was that made it peak up a little bit. But quickly afterwards, it fell back down. Then December is obviously Nova. And then up here in February, March is the transfer of service in Sage coming out. You know, Sage was announced basically to come out, I think, on the 14th, or something like that. So this was a transfer of service, and then this was Sage coming out. And Sage didn't really have the popularity boost that it did in the past. And I think in a pretty large way that is due because a lot of people thought they were going to do a really big update with the taking over from Pearl Abyss, taking over from Kakao Games as a new publisher. And they didn't do that. They didn't make a big deal about it. There wasn't like a big update. There was like just Sage. And right now the BDO player base is kind of tired of this new classes. You know, it's just been the same thing over and over again. So BDO currently right now is looking for its next, kind of like its next big thing to revitalize it. World of Warcraft is in the same slump. You know, we can type in World of Warcraft here. Just well, we'll type in Final Fantasy first. Final Fantasy 14, and you can see here, this is not the right one. I don't need Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, there we go. And you can see here, obviously, that is more popular, and I don't think that would surprise anybody. And if you type in World of Warcraft, this does include Classic and the Burning Crusade and the Shadowlands. All of that is included here. And again, you can see, you're not surprised that it is more popular. You know, obviously been draining. And if you look over a long period of time, I mean, BDO is like, I mean, the game's just basically died over a long time, right? You can see here, this is World of Warcraft back in its prime. The yellow one here is Guild Wars 2 when it first came out, back in its prime. And then Final Fantasy 14 when it launched. I guess this is when it launched, and this is when they did their new update. But they've been kind of cruising, and World of Warcraft is just kind of slowly, when people say World of Warcraft is dying, they're comparing that to when its glory days, right? And that's why people say that. They're not saying that because it's actually a dead game. You know, by comparison, in the last year, it's still vastly more popular than Black Desert Online, Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, and all that. But by comparison to back in its glory days, it's a relatively dead game by today's standards compared to back then. So another thing that you can also do in here is you can use Steam charts. Steam charts don't tell you the entire Black Desert player base because there's also the website client, which hosts a ton of people that are not shown here. But this does tell us the correct player percentages, if that makes sense. So like when there's a big player boost because of a new activity, this does give us fairly accurate representation of how many players increased or how many players decreased overall based on the content that's coming out. We don't really have an idea of how many people are on website by itself. So this is Steam charts though. This how many people are playing Black Desert Online on Steam, and then this is the NAEU version. This is not the South American version, and I think there's an SCA version of Black Desert on Steam. This is not counting those either. All right, so if you look here, we can see March. March, that was the transfer of service, and it was also the Sage coming out, and we saw there was a huge player base increase from that. I think they also might have had a sell going on this at the same time to kind of boost that even farther. And you see it's dropped back down to 23,000, which is basically what it was back in January when Nova came out, right? So we were at 19,000, and then Nova came out, and we also had the Caltheon Ball, went up to 23,000, and we're back down to around 23,000. But if you look at, roughly a year ago today, that is May, about 25,000, and that was because we're coming off the high of Succession and Guardian. So you can see this was, Guardian was, I think, came out in December, and then Succession came out between like January and March. And then they had a big update in March with something else. I forget what it was at this point. But they had something else that came out. Maybe it was the Ocean update? No, it was something else. I don't know. But yeah, you can kind of see here. And in September, this was Hashishine. This was Hashishine that came out here. So yeah, right now, every 3 months we're getting a new class. And I think BDO in the long term is good, as long as they come out with new classes and they come out with new content that somewhat engages the player base. A lot of players right now are a little bored of the game because there hasn't been a new class recently. They haven't reintroduced the new version of seasons yet. They haven't dropped any hints of the new class. And the dungeon that they've announced coming out in Korea on the 2nd has no release date on NAEU yet. So there's a lot of things on the horizon. I think what BDO and Probus is trying to do in the long term is they're trying to actually figure out what's going to be that thing that takes them from, what's going to take them from being the second, the second smallest game out of these right here. What's going to make them better than ESO? What's going to make them better than Final Fantasy 14? What's going to make them better than World of Warcraft? And that's what they're trying to figure out, because they've done a pretty good job of sustaining their player base, and they've been growing their player base by a little bit, right? But they want to figure out how to not only grow their player base by a little bit and sustain, they want to figure out how to become the next big MMO. And they're trying it with 2 different things. They're trying it with dungeons. They're going to be doing 4 dungeons, and they're going to see if that can help them out. And they're also going to be trying to do rework PvP across the board and see if that helps revitalize the game. And they're also going to be reworking seasons and trying to make that something brand new. So the Heidel Ball happens on June 19th. And I expect to hear seasons and how they plan on doing seasons for the future. I also expect them to hear a new class coming out. And if we don't have a release date on NAEU yet, I expect to hear a global release date for the dungeon. We might have the dungeon by then. We'll have to see. But yeah, I think they're going to be trying to figure out how to get up higher in here, how to get more popular than Elder Scrolls Online, how to get more popular than Final Fantasy 14. They want to see what makes the next big thing. I think BDO for the next 2 years, if they just keep on doing what they're doing, I think BDO will be good for about the next 2 years, right? This coming out with like small grind spot updates and new classes, I think BDO will be easily good for the next 2 years. But BDO doesn't want, Proboss doesn't want BDO just to be good. They want it to flourish and do amazing. And maybe with the trade rework that they're planning on doing later on in 2021. Maybe with the Heidel Ball, we'll get some new insights into what their plan is to take it to the next level. But yeah, I see BDO doing well for basically the next 2 years, and then past there, I think it's just hard to really even guess. We'll do a follow-up video on this one after they do the Heidel Ball on June 19th, 2021. We'll do a follow-up video, and we'll give our opinions on how fast we think they'll deliver it, and cover all of that as well. So I'll see you guys then. Thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you to all people who support me on Twitch at Potion Shop TV. If you guys have any more questions, I really hope Awakening Sage gets some buffs, man. I love this class. It's just his abilities, his actual damage abilities are so slow. We should do a video maybe on why I hate Awakening Sage. Because his abilities are really cool, but he's just so slow. His mobility is what sells it to me, though. That's what I really like. Alright, guys. I'll catch you next one. Have a great day.